Hey y'all, my name is Patricia, a young lady living with an old soul, and welcome to my channel, Talitha Coom. Ladies, whether you are in high school pursuing your degree or are in the work field, I'm sure you have experienced that feeling of FOMO, fear of missing out, when it comes to the relationship world. Most especially if you, like most of us, are a little too attached to your social media screens. New Year's resolution idea: delete the apps, not even delete the account. Yes, just get rid of the app. Believe me, it makes a huge difference. This sudden increase in relationship developments of the people around you can cause two serious things: loneliness and envy. I've been there many times myself, I feel you, but if I may be so bold, I'd like to offer some positives to being in this position, as well as countering some of the lies you're probably telling yourself. First up is loneliness. We hear it all the time from speakers, youth ministers, pastors, priests, parents, teachers. We are way too glued to our social media screens, scrolling mindlessly past seemingly perfect lives we've got to get off. Of course, they are 100% correct, but also easier said than done. I once got lost in a series of Facebook videos for way longer than I'm willing to admit. Then and there, I had to delete my Facebook app. I don't have time for that junk, even if some of it was funny, because most of it just made me upset. Look, you know the facts. Endless scrolling or even just a few minutes of scrolling can cause some serious loneliness. I don't know about you, but for me, when I was a teen, the worst was when I saw pictures of friends hanging out and all I could think was, why wasn't I invited? Another topic for another video, I'm sure, but this did cause me to think that I had no friends and that no one cared about me, even though I knew for a fact that wasn't true. So if you're prone to those thoughts and feelings like me, maybe consider deleting those apps to start. You know what? Let's get that out of the way now. It would be better for everyone if we got off the social media and went outside. Yes, I know social media has its benefits, that's why I'm still on some of them. But you have to be careful about it and mature. It may take some time and effort to get off and go out, but it's worth a start. Little side note, as a positive, there's this YouTube channel I love called Blimey Cow, good, clean, fun humor, and they have their own social media network that you can sign up for if you become like a patron of theirs or something. It's great. Just throwing it out there, it can be a good thing. Maybe look into that if you ever have watched Blimey Cow. Just a thought. But by getting rid of these apps or just not going on the social media as much, you're taking that first step of preventing the lie from formulating in the first place. But you might be thinking, Patricia, whether I get on social media or not, these things are actually happening in my friends' lives and I'm going to hear about them eventually. Hence, I might still experience fear of missing out and loneliness. While I would still say getting off social media would at least make it easier, you are absolutely right, that is still a possibility, so let's move on to envy. If you're in high school, it's everyone has a boyfriend. If you're in college or college-aged, it's oh my gosh, everyone's getting engaged. If you're a graduate or in your mid-20s, it's everyone's getting married and having kids. Everyone, it would seem, except you. First of all, this all or nothing mentality has got to stop. Right now. That is not true. No, not literally everyone except you. Because here's the thing, now because you're telling yourself it's everyone except you, that's when the loneliness steps in. And what's next? Envy. Now I can hear you saying, whoa, no, I am very happy for them. I'm serious. I just wish it could happen to me too, and sometimes that makes me feel a little disappointed. And I don't doubt you, okay? I was the same way. Of course I was thrilled when a friend got engaged, married, or had a kid. It was a joyous time. But what is envy? I always related it to jealousy. However, I heard a description recently that offered a distinct, key difference that not only enlightened my brain, but also shed light on the fact that I used to be an extremely envious person, and sometimes still am guilty of this vice. Jealousy, yes, is coveting what another person has, but more so in the sense that you are mad they have it instead of you and wish you could take it from them. Harsh, right? Envy is getting a feeling of sadness because of someone else's joy or success. Not that you want to take it from them, but that you feel sad knowing that they have it and you don't. That description got me good. Be honest with yourself. Have you ever learned of an engagement, pregnancy, new boyfriend, or even something just good happening to someone you know, and for some reason, you got a knot in your stomach? As if the overwhelming feeling in that moment is that you're dismayed it wasn't you? That's envy. and it comes because of a hint of pride, just not in the way we typically describe pride. Now we hear those words, envy and pride, and because we know they are considered deadly sins, freak out, either going into extreme defensive mode or, oh my gosh, I'm a terrible person mode. Don't freak out. Just be mindful, pray for a change of heart. I find taking the time to pray for that other person that's the source of my envy and just praying in thanksgiving that they have those things eventually will make those feelings subside because you're getting rid of the pride part of it. You're not focusing on yourself. Because it doesn't mean you hate the people at the source of your envy. And in fact, I'm sure for some people, it stems from some real tragedies they've experienced. But it's still not okay and is something to be aware of. But like I mentioned earlier, I realized I was very guilty of this. I did not date in high school, I did not get engaged during college, I'm not married, and therefore I do not have children. It did get easier as I got older though. The more I was settled with who I was, my independence, my job, my faith, also less hormones. That's very nice. But it does still happen. But here's the best part. There are some serious positives to being, quote, the last two whatever. And I don't mean the Hollywood definition of positives where they put worth into things like money, careers, material goods, not that those things are intrinsically bad. I mean some real practical things we may not consider, like learning experiences. Now, I'm sure the first thing that came to your mind when I said that was something to the effect of learning how to be independent as a single woman, and that's great, nothing wrong with that. I've loved living with my 2 roommates and growing in my 20s the way I have, but I mean in terms for when those relationship developments, should that be your vocation, do happen, the learning experiences you can gain because you were the last one, quote unquote. Didn't date in high school and dating way later in life? Great! Talk to your friends who did date in high school about their experiences and get some do's and don'ts. The last of your friends to get married? Okay, ask them for advice about wedding planning, what they realized wasn't actually that important and what turned out to be more important than they thought. Having your first kid after all your best girlfriends? Get that advice. Obviously, everyone parents a little different because every child is different, but if you have friends who already have kids, you've got an endless source, an endless fountain of modern/recent advice. Sure, your mom and grandmother might be super helpful in that regard, but having friends who've had kids recently means that they're up to date on current products, etc., if that makes sense. Also, you won't be raising your kids in the same world your parents raised you, nor your grandparents raised your parents. So you need people who are going through it at the same time as you. There will be some differences in addition to the fact that yes, some things do carry over from every generation. Those friends have already navigated some of the craziest parts of life and are probably bursting with information and advice they wish they'd had. Inevitably, yes, there will be oodles of points where you will have to navigate something on your own, but that's life. Now let me leave you with just one more bit of advice. Beyond getting off social media, becoming aware of your gut reactions to other people's joys, or seeing the positives in your situation, I will say this. Stop comparing your journey to someone else's. You are not them. You were not created to be them. You cannot be them, and they cannot be you. And I know part of what makes this so tough is odds are a lot of these friends you spent 4 to 8+ years doing pretty much the same thing. Middle school, high school, college, you spent all this time doing basically the same thing and going through the same stages of life at the same time, and now you're not. If you're like me in my situation, you went really far away to a college where pretty much everyone there also came from different parts of the country, and now you're all spread out. Actually, a lot of them are now in Ohio and Pennsylvania. I should visit there. I could go through a lot of friends in one visit. But this change is good. It means that y'all are growing up into independent adults. It's difficult, but it's good. So again, your journey is unique to you. Embrace it. I do hope this video offered some good perspectives and positives when it comes to that feeling of fear of missing out in terms of the relationship world. Or anything really. There is only one you, so don't try to live the journey God designed for someone else. Choose to experience the joy of discovering the one He designed uniquely for you. If you enjoyed this video, I encourage you to comment below, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and if you haven't decided to delete it, you can follow me on Instagram @TalithaCoonMinistry for more content. Thank you all again for watching, and God bless.